Okay, so stay there, and when your times come, we'll ask you to unmute and to present. Thanks a lot for being here. Now we're going to shift to the slides for our short introductions. See you soon. It's over. Muted.
Sí, hola.
To do, so we just lay around in someone's house. Someday I'll have it all again, just like way back when. Back then we'd sleep into the afternoon, then we'd just get up and go outside. Open a window, let the breeze blow in, forget everything. Those will be the days that I'll be missing. When I'm old and when I'm gray and when I stop working, I hope that I can say.
Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats as the next session will start in exactly 58 seconds.
Share a cigarette and throw together everything we
For this session on coding, computing, and other things in Learning Labs, please welcome the moderators from European Schoolnet, Nair Carrera Martinez and Tommaso Dalla Vecchia. Please give them a round of applause, people.
Thank you very much. And I hope we'll all applaud at the end of the session as well, so you'll be pleased with what you're going to hear today. From them to start? I know. It's okay? So we have to start. Here's the timing. Go. Great, the doors are closing, so the show must start. Welcome everybody, good morning, here from Tommaso and Nair. This session is called Coding, Computing and Other Things in Learning Labs, as you heard, and I'm going to explain you a bit what we meant by that. So both me and Nair, as Bart that talked before of us, we're working for the Future Classroom Lab in Brussels. At European Schoolnet, we work daily with what we called innovation in education. We always thought that we always think we exchange, we talk about innovative teaching and learning practices, innovative learning spaces, innovative ecosystems, but we do it daily with basing our thoughts on some assumptions, of course. And we share this destiny with many of you in this room. So we advocate and we research innovative teaching and learning, but we don't have that many chances to go and talk to students, actually, which are the actual core of our research. It's the actual core of what we work for, really. So today we have the chance to do that. And we want to just try to understand whether some of our assumptions are correct and how these resonate in students' mind. So not on teachers, not on policymakers, but on students. The first assumption we want to verify with them today in this trip across Europe is about coding. So we've been talking a lot about coding extensively in these last years, and I think we can all agree that coding is goes much beyond actually the learning and teaching about programming a line of code or how to program a computer or a software. Now, when we talk about coding, we mean a whole ecosystem of digital creativity, computing, computational thinking, robotics. We go into making and Fab Lab, so we extend that concept very much. And we believe also that actually coding can help students to develop what we call 21st century skills. So not only those technical competences connected to the computer world, but really to develop also teamwork, collaboration, learning to learn, digital competencies, all these elements that are not normally included in formal education, but that we think which they should. So we'll hear from students that are actually very engaged in this kind of activities, whether this is the case or not. Do they develop 21st century skills during these activities, during this project in the schools? The other assumption we start from is that technology can have a purpose. So it's not technology for technology's sake, especially when we talk about technology in the classroom, but it's technology that serves a purpose. And the purpose is for the teachers to enhance their teaching, but it's also for the students to take ownership of the interaction with digital devices and with technology. So the students actually become creator of technology and not only consumer. The other element of the purposefulness of technology is that we think that in the schools, in the classroom, technology and digital devices and digital tools can be presented as a way for students to try and solve societal issues, environmental issues, or even small problems they experience in their context, in their schools, in their communities. So we like to think that actually students could look at technology saying, this is a tool, a powerful tool we have that we can use to cope with issues that matters to us. So we want to see that, hopefully, in these innovative schools and in these innovative practices. And the next and last assumption we always start from, and we heard extensively in the previous session about these learning labs, is that learning needs to happen in different spaces than the traditional classroom. So we know where a book belongs, a textbook belongs into a shelf or into a desk, but where does a computer belong? Where does a tablet belong? Where does a robot belong into the classroom? Where should it go? What should be the space to welcome this kind of technology or these kind of practices? And where would a smartphone belong? Maybe in a pocket more than on a desk. And if it stays in the pocket, then it goes with the students when it goes home. So the teaching and learning happens also in different times. So these are the main assumptions we start from. But really, if these are real, if this is changing this element impacts the student learning and how they're growing, to check that, we really have to take this trip. And we have the pleasure to do this travel with you today. And we're going to visit across Europe some of these very innovative schools that might tell us what's their take on that, what's their feeling about that.
Great. Good morning, everybody. And thank you very much for being here. Thank you, Tommaso, for this great introduction. So as Tommaso said, we work here in Brussels in the Future Classroom Lab. And since this lab was created in 2012, we have been working a lot and trying really, really hard to promote this kind of spaces, so to boost that schools and teachers decide to create this kind of spaces. And we know, we think and we know that the learning environment is really, really important. And for this reason, the learning should happen in a space where the actual learning is active. So students must be active. It has to be a space where students are really motivated, really engaged, so they really want to go to the classroom every day, which is really, really important. And also a space where they can have access to technology, so they use ICT tools in order to create learning rather than only being consumers of learning. And also space that allows them to develop 21st century competencies that Tommaso was mentioning, such as problem solving, creativity, critical thinking, and so on. And why is it important to provide students with these kind of spaces? Because we really think that these spaces allow them to grow up, not only at a school level, but also at a personal level, which we also think it's really important. And therefore to be ready for the future, no? The future of learning that we have been discussing these days. But I think we can do more, and we should do more. We can really go beyond the walls of the classroom. Do you want to know how we can go beyond?
So if you really want to know more about how we can go beyond the classroom now, after a lot of thought, we said, okay, the classroom that we have here are actually seeing us. So to show them that we really want to take this journey with them and to go and visit them right virtually with them, we would like to ask all of you to stand up together with us and to give a round of applause to the schools that are connecting. And maybe we can show also the schools, this full room of people that are wishing to actually connect with us.
€5 for everybody who stands up.
Okay. Are they seeing us? Are they seeing the venue? Okay, so
great.
Here are the schools. Please welcome them. And as we've been talking about active learning, of course, we thought, okay, we just stand up, we take a deep breath, we activate our body and mind ecosystem to give the most attention to the students.
And so, as you can see on the screen, you can sit down again. Thank you. We're not going to give you 5 extra euros, though. So we have Norway, Austria, Estonia, and Spain. Welcome, everybody. Thank you very much for being here with us. Hello. And just to give you a bit of a sense of how this session will work, so each school will introduce the good practices, the innovative practices that they have been doing, they have been working on for around 10 minutes, let's say. And then at the end of the 5 interventions, we will give you some minutes for questions. So in case you're interested in knowing more about the schools or the things that you have been working on, feel free to take some notes, and then at the end we'll ask those to the schools. And without further ado, I think we can start. We really hope you enjoy this session, because what these students are doing, it's really impressive. So we really hope you enjoy it. And we're gonna start with Austria, if you're ready, where we have some students waiting for us in Vienna. Hello, everybody. And they are in the Future Learning Lab, which is a lab that has been recently created. So whenever you're ready, Vienna, the floor is yours.
Yeah, fine.
So, hello, my name is Nair. I'm 6th grade, I'm 15 years old.
Hello, my name is Alyssa. I'm in 7th grade and I'm 16 years old. Hello, my name is Anna. I'm 16 years old and I'm in 7th grade.
Hi, my name is Markus Heider and I'm a teacher at the school.
This day we were going to present different projects in connection to e-learning. Well, the first project is actually less e-learning but e-coaching. In collaboration with another school, a few students of this school of Gümnaasium went to the school. They prepared specific projects connecting to art, languages, and with our help, they presented this project with the help of a roboter and an app. So they created parkour, and the roboter presented the work they've done for them.
Yeah, so what we've been doing was green screening. So we shot videos for their class time, containing the things we worked through in class. So what our teacher did, he would separate us in teams, and every team would get like a small part of our subject, and we would work through the information and summarize it and put it into a video that we would later present our class. So we could all learn from each other from the videos we had made. And also in those years I did that, I learned a lot about my computer, so I feel far more confident using it. So I'm very thankful that we do that at our school.
Especially in music and history lessons, we use our technical devices very often. For example, we created music with our tablet with the app GarageBand, for example, and so the ones who usually don't play any instruments had the possibility to play music with the piano on their phone. And we also use books and scan in barcodes to see augmented reality that help us to keep in mind a historical person, for example, and to imagine things.
Yeah, and from the perspective of a teacher, all of our students have a little computer in their pocket all the time. And I think it is necessary today to use this kind of device. It's not only a cell phone, it's a computer, and you can do a lot of things in there. And I'm sure if you use the right frameworks, it is a very powerful tool for everybody.
Thank you. Thanks a lot for your presentation. We're excited to learn more from the Learning Lab. So I guess you can hear the applause, and I have a quick question for you first of all, because of course this environment that you work in is quite new, so you're also changing the way you're working. Probably also you have a lot of group work going on, as you mentioned, and I'm always kind of curious when you work in teams. I know you also work individually in some area of your learning, but when you work in teams, how do you assign different roles to the team members? And do you always have the same roles, or do you cover a bit all of the roles, or do you help each other? How does it work?
So when we shoot a video, we have like many different roles that get covered. So that is one, that's the person who actually holds the camera. We have the people who need to gather information. We have the people who present the information in the video. And what we usually do, of course, we have people who have preferences for presenting, and others who rather just like hold the camera. But what we really try to do is get everybody involved, have everybody move around with its roles. So also people who don't necessarily like to see the camera, that they do that once in a while, even though they usually gather up information. So we're all very important for our team, and nobody gets left out because we all have a role.
So anyway, in each of your team, actually, you manage to include everybody and make everybody feel kind of is contribute to the work and to create something better jointly. That's very important.
And do you like working in these kind of spaces, these innovative spaces, or you prefer the traditional classroom, let's say?
Well, I think it is important to have a mixture between both. So neither of them gets boring, because if you would be doing e-learning the whole time, then it wouldn't be something special anymore. It would be the same like traditional way, just the same problems, just with e-learning. So as I said, it is important to have both, and not only one of them.
So you need a lot of variety, really. So it's challenging for the teachers to keep up with your expectations, but that's what they have to do. Sorry, Marcus, but that's your job.
That's cool, yeah.
Here is a question for you, Marcus. How has your life changed since you are working in these completely different spaces and different practices, basically, because the process has whole changed of your lessons, I guess?
As a teacher, my life changed completely. Of course, because I have to work in another kind of way. I have to change my attitude. I'm not the professional expert in front of the class telling them some interesting things or less interesting things, and they should get it into their brain and pass it back on a test. My role changed to become a coach. So I needed a much more pedagogical approach to my work. And of course, I have to be open-minded to allow students to find their personal way to solve problems. That's completely new, because there is no right or false way to get a solution. Students are engaged to find their personal pathway.
Thank you, Marcus. It's indeed a good answer that you said, because you mentioned the word coach, which I think it's really relevant, because the role of the teachers has changed a lot, and we need to be aware of this also. And I have another question for you, Marcus. What do you think? We have been talking a lot about learning spaces and innovative spaces. What do you think are the key elements, or let's say key ideas that a project or a learning space should have in order to be successful?
Yeah, some keys. First of all, is attitude of the coach and attitude of the students, but that belongs to each other and influences each other. That's the first thing. The second thing is you have to know a little bit about frameworks. For example, I really love the Soul framework from Nigata Sutra. So you have to make a frame for the students to cooperate and work together in an environment. And the third thing is you need a physical environment with the gear to find the way of solutions and to cooperate and to work. So with computers, tablets, or cell phones, or cameras, what else? But I think the main key is the attitude. That's the main thing. At the moment, I'm working on a project. I'm founding a school next year. It's called the OpenSchool.world, and we are working with all those keys engaging students to explore the world from their point of view and find solutions together for their future in groups. And so they will meet all the opportunities of the 21st century.
Very good, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
I ask the audience again to note down if you have some question. At the end we can ask also to Vienna. So thanks a lot to the Future Learning Lab in Vienna, and just stay connected so in case we have more questions. Thanks very much. We're now taking our plane to go to Estonia, where Eero is waiting for us. Hello there, you see a very smartly dressed man. He is not only an ICT manager, he's also a student, or I would say also the opposite. He's a student, but he also has the role of ICT manager. How are you, Eero? The floor is yours whenever you're ready.
Hello, I'm great, thank you. So yes, that's true. I am a student at the Gustav Grammar School in Tallinn, but also an ICT manager. So we have a team of 5 people, and I am the leader alongside with a student from the 12th grade. And from the 11th grade, I have 1 more year to study, and I have a colleague from the 12th grade who's also an ICT manager, and there are also other team members we manage. So this is quite innovative, and I guess we have quite a special role in the school, me and my colleague from the 12th grade. But here today we are in our new virtual reality class, where we experience different worlds from just in this from this room. And today I have with me students who are from the 5th and 6th grade who do robotics and coding every week. And they are here to show you what they have been working on this past year, right? So first up, I have Walter here, and Walter is going to show you what?
I'm going to show you a little computer which shows LED. So if I made a game, it's called rock, paper, scissors. If you shake this like the one, then it will show rock, paper, scissors. That's right.
So let's play this game you've just made. So what do I do? I shake it, right?
Yes.
And I got?
Paper, and I got paper.
Oh, you got paper. You got paper too. Okay, so let's play again.
Rock, paper, scissors. I got paper, and you got rock.
So that means I won?
No.
No, you won, yes. Thank you. And how long have you been coding with this microbit?
Since kindergarten.
Since kindergarten. But you have been coding since kindergarten, but this specific one you got this year, right?
Yes, this year.
This year?
Yes.
This year. And do you enjoy it?
Yes, fun.
And is it hard for you to write this code?
No, it's not. Some LED.
Okay, thank you. And moving on, we have Mia. Mia is going to show you 2 robots.
Hello, I'm Mia. This is it's a little robot with lines and colors. So you just draw colors and colors.
Okay, great. So this little robot that you are holding in your hand can follow this line, so you can program it through drawing, essentially, yes?
Yes.
And can you show us what it does? So maybe you can explain what you've made here.
I have made a room for also, but I have little codes here
And so does the robot do something when it sees different colors?
Yes, one of the codes is tornado, and one is that it's turning very fast.
Okay, great. And you have a different robot here as well. It looks like a bee.
This is Bebop. It's a small robot and press the orange arrow and then it's from.
So you can probe with just 4 buttons, yes?
Yes.
And how old were you when you first programmed with this Bebop?
I was 10.
Okay, great. And nowadays, actually, children in kindergarten actually program with these. They start programming. Thank you, Mia. We have Sandra. And you have a ball in your hand. What is this?
This is a little robot sparrow with like a ball, and you can control it with the iPad or phone with the sparrow app. You can control it with this app and code with another app.
Okay, and can you show us this sparrow in action, this rolling ball? Okay, it turned on, and
yes. You can control it with this little phone pad.
Okay, great. And is this your favorite kind of robot, or are there any other favorites?
My favorite is Sparrow and Autobot. My favorite is Sparrow and Autobot.
Okay, great. And I heard another thing with you today is this Makey.
This is Makey. It's like a controlling pad, and you can play music or play games with it.
So can you play us a simple tune, maybe? Okay. It's not working right now, but she has made like a piano app. We'll look at it later, and maybe we can fix it. Thank you, Sandra. We have Steve over here, and you have played with little bit. Is that correct?
Yes. Little bit. Yes. That are controllable with
you can make a robot with these little bits, just as the name says, little bits. And you made a robot that can do what here?
My robot can.
So you made a car. And can you show us how it moves?
Yes.
Okay, nice. It seems to be turning, yes?
At the moment it's turning.
Okay, and how long did it take you to make this car robot?
A few minutes.
Only a few minutes?
Yes.
You are an expert then?
No, it's easy.
Oh, it's easy for you, great. And last we have Rico and Martin here. And explain to me, what is this big robot you have in your hand?
Hello, this is our robot. We made it for robotics. It's a national competition where robots battling.
Okay, so you made a robot that can battle, but what kind of battle does it do? Does it do sumo?
Yes, it's a sumo robot. It starts like that, and this here, and pushing the other robots out.
So you made a competitive, and when is this robotics competition going to be?
In 1 week.
In 1 week time, and have you code for it? Robot already ready?
No, we have to make the best.
Oh, you have to make a better code, yes? Okay, that's great. And thank you, boys. And I would just like to bit more about one of our projects, the IT Students project. All students that are in a coding club, where they play and make robots and all that and program. But also in our school we have an IT student program. Sign up, and they have a lot of privileges, but it's in the sense that they can come and use kinds of robots and 3D printers, virtual reality, all of those things. But during classes, the teacher can ask all of these are IT students, we call students who participate in the group. In this project we call them IT students. And when a teacher has a problem in the classroom, these students will be glad to help them. So teacher doesn't have to call in some sort of special IT guy to fix little problems, because these they can outperform their teachers. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, Eero. 2 minutes. He said 2 minutes, just in case you didn't hear it. I don't know if you got it in the audience, but Eero, you got like a double role. So he's a student, but he's also an ICT manager. So he's a student, and at the same time, he's managing students, younger students. So how do you feel about this, Eero? Do you like having this double role? Do you enjoy taking ownership of students?
Oh, yes, I do. It's actually quite interesting for me and motivating at the same time to see the view of a teacher and a ICT manager through the eyes of a student. So I'm really very glad that I have this role, and I work hard every day to make this school as good for the students as possible.
So would you like to be a teacher in the future?
Or an ICT manager?
Well, I really enjoy my job at the moment. That it is definitely one of the opportunities for my future.
Very good. So your job of students, ICT manager or teachers, doesn't matter. You're a fully comprehensive person. I'm amazed by the variety of projects that you've developed within your schools. And my question is always somehow the same when I get to Estonian schools. So how free are your students when they have to decide what to create, what to focus on? So which robot or which program to use? Is this something that they decide by their own, or is something that is decided by the teacher or by who run the coding class or coding club?
Okay, so maybe you can tell me about your coding club a bit? First, Sandra maybe? Okay, maybe Team, can you talk a bit about your coding club?
Yes, it was first made in our second grade.
Okay, and does your teacher pick projects for you?
No, we can choose our own.
Yes, that is correct. That they actually choose their own projects, and they choose who they work with and everything. But they have like an inner circle or a club where they have access. They have a special time for when the club takes place, and they have access to all these robots. But they can actually decide what they want to do.
Thank you very much, guys. We would stay with you the whole morning, but we have to fly to the next country. Thanks a lot again.
Thank you.
Bye.
And we're going to fly to Spain, where we're going to connect with some students in Figueras, birthplace of Salvador Dalí, for those who didn't know. And we're going to go to the high school Cendrassos, where we're going to see Isaac and Gerard presenting some innovative practices. Hello.
Hello, good morning from Catalonia. My name is Gerard, and with my buddy Isaac, we are going to present two different projects. Yes, we are going to present two different projects. First of all, we are going to present the stadium thing, and then he's going to present the Omnicopter one. So, first of all, the stadium has been developed to play football. However, all the elements of the robotic stadium, that's how we call it, are modular, allowing us to create different educational challenges. The design of the stadium incorporates automatic components, such as the goal that it's moving, it's moving right now, and the lighting system. Then we have the robots, or as we call them, the football players, with an Arduino Uno. These robots are controlled via Bluetooth through an Android application that we developed with a mobile phone. Some designs like the goals, the football robots, and some accessories were made with the 3D printing technology. And here we have our final result. Now that everybody knows what the project deals with, I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Roberto Lesalamo, and I am a 17-year-old student from a small town near Tarragona, Catalonia. Now, I am studying the last year before university in Morell High School. We developed this project during one academic year 2 years ago during the technology classes that we took 3 times per week. And what is more, it's a cooperative work developed in 3 different high schools all around Catalonia. I'm going to mention those high schools. In Cendrassos, that's where we are now, in Morell, that's where I am from, and in Costet de la Torre, with the main teachers Joan Pellicer, Enric Bolaño, and Joan Bofarull. The teachers, members of the Robola team, well developed the idea or the framework, and then we take the helm. So we have to thank them. The project itself is the same. Nevertheless, every high school developed it in their own way by working in teams. I always consider that the huge companies are the mirror of the reality, and by knowing what they are doing now, we can start drawing the future. One of those examples is Google. I have to admit that it's my dream job. Sorry. However, they are implementing a new way of working that just a few companies are implementing with slides, ball bikes in their offices. So I think it's not just the furniture, it's more about the corporative psychology. We have to change the educational system, and that's what we are doing. We have to transform all classes into labs, which give us the possibility of learning and implementing the new tools. In our high school, Morell's one, we don't have a lab itself. It's more about a garage. So it's not a complete lab, but we are on the way of having one with 3D printers, CNCs, and at this rate, I think we are going to achieve it soon. The future means robotics, 3D printing, fab labs, IoT technology, and cooperative work. And the school has to prepare us for that. And during this project, I think I developed all those skills, plus the robotical and technological ones. We had the opportunity to show what we did all around Catalonia, to teachers, students, and finally in here. So just to sum up, a really interesting project that empowered me to create new projects during my free time and during the compulsory school. And I'm going to finish this presentation, my part of the presentation, thanking everybody who helped in this project, because everybody who helped is important. So now it's the turn for my mate, Isaac.
Okay, hello everybody. My name is Isaac Limona, and I'm 17 years old, and I'm in the last year of high school. My project is about making an ornithopter from scratch. An ornithopter is a mechanical bird capable of flying just by flapping its wings, like this. My ornithopter produces this flapping motion using an electric motor, and a pair of servo motors tilt the tail in order to provide directional control. It can be controlled remotely using a radio system. It has a wingspan of 1.6 meters, and it weighs 530 grams. I used 3D printing technology to make most of the parts of the ornithopter. I haven't been able to make it stay in the air for a long time yet, but it can fly for a couple meters by now, and I'm doing some improvements in each flight test, so I think it will be able to really fly shortly. It was developed in the context of a research project we must do for the last year of high school. This project should be done individually during the summer, and the topic is fully chosen by the students. I built it in my home, where I set up a small workshop with a few basic tools and a 3D printer. When I had to choose a topic for this project, I knew I wanted to make some kind of machine or robot, because it's a field I really like. And I'm also interested in aerodynamics and flying things, so I decided to build an ornithopter, because it was a topic that motivated me a lot, and this allowed me to spend tons of hours during the summer. I like to work on this kind of projects because they give me the freedom to choose a topic that interests me and to establish my own goals. Also, working on my own and having to take the initiative during the project makes me feel motivated and involved with the project, and makes the results very valuable for me. I've learned a lot by doing this project. I've learned about various fields, including mechanics, aerodynamics, 3D design and 3D printing, and electronics. I had to pass through lots of iterations before getting to something that worked, and I learned new things in each of those. A project like this also teaches you to have initiative and to be persistent even when you run into a problem that seems impossible to solve at first. I think all this knowledge will be valuable in my future, because I would like to make those fields part of my life, both as a hobby but also professionally. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you very much.
So first question goes to Isaac, because I don't know if the audience got it, but he has been working on this during the summer.
Yeah.
But he was supposed to be resting. Or this is what I do at least. How many days have you spent working on this, Isaac?
Yeah, I spent almost every day I could. Some days I worked just for 2 or 3 hours, but other days I would be working the entire day.
And why? Well, why is it that the young student like you decides to spend his summer working rather than resting or being with friends, enjoying, I don't know?
Yeah, I felt very interested with the project, and I liked a lot working on it. So yeah, I did not take it as a school activity, but as a project I did just for fun. So while some students may enjoy spending their summer relaxing, playing video games or going out with friends, I enjoy making things or robots. So yeah, it was indeed working on my hobby.
You personalize your own learning. Very good. Thank you. So now a question for Gerard as well. Otherwise, we leave him out. So you also went through a very intense and long project. How do you feel after being in this project, really? Do you feel you grow up? Do you have clear idea about your careers or what you want to study, for instance?
Yes, I think I've learned a lot, making errors and committing errors, yes. And we are here with a project, but that's not just what we did. We are giving you some examples of what we did, just you to believe in us. But yes, I think that the most important thing I've learned is cooperative work, because we are in the multidisciplinary world, and we have to kind of work together to achieve something better.
Great, thank you. Thanks a lot for your comments as well. Okay, so now it's time to fly to the next country. Isaac, if you allow us, we're gonna take your ornithopter. I cannot pronounce that. Okay, we'll thank you so much again, and stay connected for other questions at the end, if any. And thank you very much again. We'll fly now to Norway, where some students from the Nordahl Grieg high school are waiting for us. So hello there. So you're gonna talk a bit about green innovation studies. Already from the title, we are very excited to learn more from you.
Hello. Hello, my name is Matthias, and I study Green Innovations Economics.
Hi, my name is Andrea, and I study Green Innovation Science.
Hi, my name is Henrik, and I'm studying Green Innovation Economy.
And my name is Maria, and I study Green Innovation Science. And we are all students here at Nordahl Grieg Upper Secondary School. This year, when we were to choose courses, we all chose the Green Innovation Studies. This is a quite new offer in the General Studies program, and we were the third class to get the opportunity to choose these studies. In Green Innovation Studies, the learning is project-based, which means we try to learn the curriculum through cooperation and projects. Students doing physics and information technology work closely together with students doing marketing and leadership and entrepreneurship and corporate development.
And all of us, all the students doing Green Innovation Studies, meet together and work in this lab we're sitting in right now. And as you probably understand, interdisciplinary is a huge keyword to these studies. Everything we do has a green profile, which means we try to work with a focus on a greener future. In our projects, we always try to come up with solutions that are sustainable and environmentally friendly. We have been cooperating with a lot of businesses and organizations during this time doing green innovation, like Impact Hub, Velvita, and Innovation Norway.
And we know about the climate threats, and there are enormous needs for good solutions. And we in Green Innovation Studies believe there are greater opportunities for more successful innovations if different disciplines work together. If scientists and economists work together towards a greener innovation, there are a greater chance to wipe away both technical and economical weaknesses regarding the innovation. And in Green Innovation Studies, we have multiple learning spaces, not just our technology and research lab. Our learning space depends on the projects we're working with, and we choose our own learning space based on our needs. And nowadays, we have an ongoing project where we are building an electronic product or device. And for this type of project, we need the lab and what comes with the lab. We need 3D printers and laser cutters and etc. During other projects, we use different learning spaces, like our city center, different companies and institutions whom our studies are cooperating with. And we work in the most relevant surroundings during our many projects where all the learning environment is facilitated to our studies.
The fact that we use spaces and facilities that are located outside of our school for learning purposes makes the experience within the subject that much more real. We grow more personally attached to the things that we are learning about, and it is much easier to get motivated or inspired if we're out working in the field rather than sitting behind a desk working on some papers. The four of us all think that this is in fact the best way to learn new things, and we are all really happy with our decision to choose green innovation. And when the four of us chose Green Innovation Studies, I think we were all a bit tired of the more traditional learning methods. So when we were presented with an option that was on the more practical side of learning, I think we all thought it sounded very interesting and fun. In our classes, the four of us are much more active and participative than we would have been in our regular classes. And we do believe that this is because we have a combination of very good teachers and a lot of field work. We believe that this combination makes us go deeper into the subjects that we are learning about, which results in the fact that we learn much more, both in a fun and a practical way. Our school is a lot different from other schools here in Norway. For starters, we try to use our computers as much as we can in every subject, so we hardly use any books. And this use of technology in class is something that the four of us never really have experienced before, but now that we've gotten used to it, I don't think we would want to be without. We all know that technology plays such a big part in our everyday lives, and it evolves every day. So we can proudly say that our school is one of the few who tries to keep up with it. But green innovation and technology is not the only things that make Nordahl Grieg stand out from the rest of the schools. Our school building itself is actually designed to give our students the best learning experience possible. All of our classrooms are separated only with glass walls, which makes our school open and including. And we strongly believe that our school itself represents our vision, which is daring minds in interaction.
So we may have understood that green innovation is something we're really passionate about, and we're really happy about our choice choosing this for second grade. You may have seen how the connection is between green innovation and learning labs by especially what Henrik was talking about how we go to the city centre. And that's one of the things that has made this a lot more interesting for us, is how it's been quite a more diverse school day, with being able to travel to the city centre and working in different areas in the school. One of the things that's really changed with this is that it's made us want to work instead of having to work. We now want to work with things, so when our teacher told us last week we're not having classes on Friday, we ended up getting we're actually sad that we were not having marketing classes instead of being happy for our day off. Another thing about this is that it is quite important when we come to the work life. In the work life, you'll be working interdisciplinary with people that work in IT, economics, leadership, programming, and so on. This is something we now start practicing earlier so that you're ready for it when you come out in the workplace, instead of having to suddenly turn around and change your ways. So we feel that green innovation is something that's needed around the world. Thank you for listening to us, and we hope you'll take this back home and test this out in different or in other places than here.
Thank you very much. Big applause, please, first. And it's gone.
All right. Nice. So this was a little surprise for the school. They prepared us a very nice video on what other green innovation studies. We were not sure we could show that, but of course after this effort, and it was so nicely done that we thought, okay, we definitely should show it to you all, and to get also a grasp on where all these activities that you mentioned happened. So thanks a lot for your presentation again. We have a couple of questions, of course, as usual. Nair, you want to take the first?
Yes, because you have been mentioning like having fun, active learning, working in the field, and I feel like coming back to school now. But I have a quick question for you. So what do you feel like working in this kind of program, this green innovation program? Do you think this has clarified somehow your future? So have you decided what you want to do in the future thanks to this program? Would you say so?
Well, for a lot of students here in Norway, a lot of students choose general studies because they're not sure what they want to become. And it's trying to clear up their mind by going through some of the typical stuff so that you're ready for quite a lot of jobs. But green innovation has made us think about what we want to do. And for me at least, it's something that has to be with something innovative. Trying to come up with new solutions, trying to solve problems like this is something I'm really interested in. And also I really like presenting things like with this conference.
Great, thanks.
And, well, you develop a very complex project in a way, from the start and the inception phase, the brainstorming, to a final product somehow, and the presentation of it somehow, a kind of marketing of that product. You need a lot of support, you need a lot of people working on these activities. How would you convince somebody that you really trust to join your team? How would you tell that person that they should join your team, and why?
Well, yeah, of course, it's impossible to do all of this alone. So you have to have colleagues to work with, like the four of us. But to get these to join us, I don't want to say very much. I would very much like to show them what we are working with and how we work. Because everyone can talk about this and talk about that. But I think the real way to show them how we work is to bring them to our lab and how we work.
Great, thank you very much. And just quick last question, because you have been mentioning working in the fields, in the city center, having fun. Are there any other key elements that you consider teachers should integrate in the classroom in order for learning to be fun and to be successful?
Well, one of the big things I feel is giving students responsibility. It's something that makes it a lot more interesting, and instead of them only standing there and telling you stuff and you have to write it down and learn it, giving us responsibility and making us think for ourselves. And as Marcus told from Austria, you could go for more of a coaching experience, and it ends up making us think more about it instead of just having to learn it. So yeah, I feel it's a way teachers should at least adapt somewhat to.
Very good. Thank you very much. And well, we are very impressed, all of us, by the presentation so far, I think. And I think 3/4 of the audience wants to go back to school for sure now. Okay, so we are flying back to Spain now. We're going to Meaño. They also have quite interesting things to share with us. So the floor is all yours. We're looking forward to listen to what you're working on at the moment.
Hello from Meaño, Galicia in Spain. I'm Cesar Riadigos, the coordinator teacher of this project. Let's get to the point as we have a little time to explain our proposal. But first of all, I'd like to introduce these 3 students as well as the teacher English, Carmen Iglesias. Here with me, 3 students.
Hello, my name is Alba and I am 15 years old. Hello, my name is Andrea and I am 15 years old. Hello, my name is Nerea and I am 15 years old. Well, our particular Fab Lab came up 2 years ago as a necessity for our Maker School project. But what's Maker School? Maker School is an interdisciplinary project where students create a supportive enterprise, design products, and manufacture them by using this 3D printer, which has been built by themselves. Here you can see it. They market the products and donate the profits to support an ONG or charity project previously chosen by our educational community. Here you can see some of the manufactured products, keychains, bookmarks, and so on. Last year, we managed to raise 1,500 euros to donate.
Well, this project allows students to develop many competences, especially the learning to learn competence. The Fab Lab spaces cause students to become the creators of their own learning. It also forces us to connect areas of knowledge, so all areas are involved in this project. Teachers design their projects integrated into the programming of each didactic department. For example, in the area of music, tasks are designed to create the soundtrack of the project. In arts, students design the enterprise logo. In maths, they have started the accounting department. In languages, teachers and students were interviewed in order to know their opinion about our Maker School project. In English, they wrote a report about how to build a fundraising project. In ICT, students have created the website of the company, a mobile app, online shopping, and so on. In the technology subject, students are divided into work commissions: electronic, software, 3D modeling, research new materials for 3D printer, processes to the project enabling the future. Here you can see a prototype made with this 3D printer. Organized orders, community manager, and so on. Later, students rotate in the different commissions to act as instructors among their peers.
Behind us, you can see the students working in different commissions. This is our particular Fab Lab, but we need to reorganize and enlarge this space to make better use of it. This is how we've made our proposal for the future classroom. First, we were divided into working groups. Each one investigated and made this 3D design project for the future classroom by using Tinkercad software. We have taken the Future Classroom Lab European Schoolnet proposal and our workshop classroom as a starting point. Then we made a design to scale. We chose the proposal that most combines us, and here is the result of it.
Here you can see the different spaces in our future classroom lab proposal. The create and present zone, where students make multimedia productions and presentations. Exchange and investigate zone. Here the students are encouraged to discover by themselves and also to the collaborative learning. Develop zone is a space for informal learning and self-reflection. Interact zone. It is a traditional learning space to enhance interactivity and students' participation.
Well, we believe that any site can become a learning space. So we have decided to create a maker space in the hall of the school. A space where students can make 3D designs and then print them with the 3D printers, design program for these robots, or interact with virtual and augmented reality, create poetry or music. In short, a maker space accessible to the entire educational community. I think students are really motivated in this type of spaces because it allows them to be the main actors in their own learning. But let them explain it. Nerea, do you feel more motivated for working in this space?
Yes, I do. Different spaces allow us to learn in a way different to the own conventional classrooms. What's more, the place and function of each space let the students work comfortably in teams. You can learn new things in an enjoyable way, so we become more involved in it.
Okay, thank you. Now, Andrea, do you prefer working in this kind of lab or in a traditional classroom?
Well, I prefer working in several places in a classroom and doing different things in each space rather than being focused just on what the teacher is explaining. I think it is really entertaining and interesting, as well as a different way of learning new things.
Okay, and finally, Alba, in this project, you have taken the role of the teacher. How do you feel about this new way of teaching?
Well, I feel privileged to participate in this project. Also, I really like to be a teacher for other students because I feel good about explaining something to a classmate who will be able to understand it.
Well, that's all. Thank you so much for your attention. And now feel free to ask any questions.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I have a question for Cesar. Cesar, how has your life changed since you have been working in this project, in this kind of space, and how do you think it's going to change in the future?
Well, it's a difficult question, but my life as a teacher totally changed. Working in this type of spaces and projects means leaving your comfort zone as a teacher. That is not comfortable. At first, everything seems a bit chaotic, but after a while, you discover that the students' motivation has increased a lot, and they are able to develop their capabilities in a surprising way. I often comment that they end up knowing more than me about 3D printers or robotics, and it's totally true. I think this is the best proof that your students have developed their competences.
Very good. Cesar, you try to steal our job asking questions to your students, but I also have a question for your students as well, and I'm joking, of course. When I was at school, at least, it was very common to not being able to see the connection between reality, between the context, and what we were studying. So we couldn't see how to apply what we were studying to reality, basically, to our life. So my question to your students would be, really, if they felt what they were learning was more connecting, and in the end, what was the most important thing that they learned being part of this project?
I've learned how to work with several tools like 3D design, problem solving, create a website or community manager, how to write a business letter or to organize a sponsor race. But especially, I have learned the real meaning of solidarity.
Oh, thank you for that comment. That's very nice. And actually quite unexpected thinking about making and engineering and 3D printing. That's very nice. Thank you.
And one quick question for Cesar before we finish, because you have mentioned that in order to work on these labs, to create these labs, you need to leave your comfort zone, so it's not something easy to do. What would you tell to other teachers who are planning to do this kind of labs, but they're scared, they don't know where to start from? What would you say to them to encourage them?
Well, it's difficult, but I would encourage them to be brave. Go out of the comfort zone and learn how to say, I don't know. I don't know. Nowadays, teachers cannot and should not know everything. We must become the guides of our students' learning. At the beginning, it will be hard work and with many concerns, but you will soon realize that it has been worthwhile when you see your students happy, motivated to go to class, or even eager to work on the project in their spare time, just as it has happened to me. You will also observe how the development of some competences, such as problem solving, solidarity, or critical thinking, increases amazingly. To sum up, I will tell them, you can do it, you should try it.
Great, thank you very much. Thanks also to Andrea, Alba, and Nerea.
And we look forward to see your future classroom lab then that you're planned so in detail. That's very exciting that you actually are thinking to expand and to move out from the already well-furnished workshop you have already behind you. So thanks a lot for your contribution already. So maybe from all of us, of course, is a big applause for you as well. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
This was the last stage of our trip across Europe. I think we heard very interesting contribution from all these students. Now we have, I think, 5 minutes for questions, if any, or comments. Has anybody have something to add? Just please raise your hand and we'll give you a microphone, of course, to be part of the show as well. Okay, so we have a question from the first row. Thank you.
I would like to imagine all these projects and all these classrooms without technology, without computers and digital printers, and imagine that you only work with paper and wood and stuff. And what would you still retain? What would you learn? And what would this be like?
It's a very easy question. Is the question for one of the school particularly or for anybody? So anybody that wants to answer from the school get 5 extra points and the Marcus that is volunteering from Austria. Please.
And 5 euros.
Hi, I think it's possible to learn without electronic gear, of course, because learning is something you need as a human being to stay alive. I think it's easier to create new learning environments if you have that gear. But sure, learning itself doesn't need it.
Thank you, Marcus. I think we have 5 points for Austria then. Anybody else want to answer that question, or do we have more questions from the audience or comments? Yes, thank you.
Right, so I think we are all impressed with all the 4 cases, all the cases we've seen here. and they are kind of exemplary, and you can see that this is the right model and things are moving in the right direction. My question is, are you doing anything, or are you ready to do something to spread this practice around to other schools and to other teachers that are close to you? Thank you.
Thank you. Here again, if somebody wants to actually take the chance, I saw Gerard probably wanted to say something. Yes, please.
Yes, and here in Catalonia we are expanding this this knowledge to a lot of different high schools. We are doing lots of presentations, but not just us. The government of Catalonia is implementing a lot of talks and a lot of conferences and a lot of congresses all around Catalonia. So we are implementing this knowledge in these aspects. We are not just us. We have lots of different high schools all around Catalonia implementing these new technologies, and yes, it's important to mention that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gerard. And from our side, that's also what the Future Classroom Lab network of learning labs is trying to do, to make sure that everybody kind of get a sense of what's happening here and possibly replicate in their constituencies, in their communities, similar innovative practices. Any other comments or questions from the audience for our outstanding presenters? Estonia wants to say something. Very good. Eero, please.
Hi again. So I would like to add a comment about the sharing of materials and the practices. So we are very fond of it that you have to share everything you do. So teachers actually be very happy to share internally in the school, but also we have projects where we show our best practices to all the other schools all around Estonia and Europe. And I would like to thank e-twinning projects because our teachers really love them.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Eero. Again, I think it is indeed. I mean, you can feel that all the schools want to connect, want to share, want to work together, really. They're not doing it just for their own benefit. That's an amazing value. And we heard for Nerea earlier also that the most important thing she actually learned during the project was solidarity, really. So how to do this together with others and make sure the others also feel better because of the results of that project. Is there any other comments? We can take another question, I think. Otherwise, still here.
Tommaso, the Norwegian school wants to.
Norway.
Norway.
Ah, yes, please. Okay. Floor is yours.
Well, for us, or the past few days, I've been presenting green innovation in the region, of course, for students that are now choosing schools for where they're going to go now the next 3 years. So the past week, I've been presenting for a few hundred kids what we do and how this affects our learning. So a lot of the same stuff we've presented today. And also some of our teachers have recently been out spreading this with, or telling about one of the projects we've been doing, the one we were talking about earlier in the city center with Impact Hub. They've been out telling about this project and had a smaller conference here in Norway as well for a lot of different schools. So we as well are trying to expand green innovation and trying to implement it in other places instead of only just Nordahl Grieg.
Perfect. Thank you very much for your contribution as well to the same vision that we also share. So time's up. I want just to mention, just to go back to the first 3 assumptions that we started the session with. So competencies, 21st century competencies, space and time for learning, and purpose of technology in education. I think we heard incredible examples from these school students. We heard from Cesar how actually different competencies are integrated in subjects that normally wouldn't develop those transversal and 21st century competencies into the students. We saw extremely innovative practices, as the case with Eero, when a student is actually entitled and given the responsibility of being a mentor and a tutor and an ICT manager for the other teachers and for the students. We heard how in Norway the space for learning is not school, is not the lab, is not necessarily that, but it's anywhere where it makes sense to learn. So it could be the city center, as we heard, companies, venues, any places. The forest, why not, could be where the learning happens. The time for learning, we heard from our outstanding students in Cendrassos, Isaac and Gerard, how they expanding the time incredibly, dedicating their whole summer to their project that was connected with their formal learning, but it was also something that they deeply cared about, and they thought it was an integral part of their life. And then I think we can close with a good message for the future about the purpose of technology. I think we saw that technology was part of these practices. These practices were highly innovative because of their processes and not necessarily because of the tools they used. So I echo that comment that actually this would have worked even without technology. They would have brought something new to the schools. But we saw also here some example of innovative use of education. So use that goes beyond the traditional way of using the technological supports. And then I want to close again mentioning the comment from the school in Meaño about the fact that technology can be used to solve problems and can be connected, any project can be connected with the concept of solidarity. So the fact that they were selling their product for the benefit of charities and to serving causes that were relevant to them make us think about technology as something that is part of our life, and our life is ethical, and we care and we believe in bigger causes, in a greater good. Somehow we can simply use this tool to maximize our impact on society. So I think...
Just a quick comment, because if you remember yesterday in this first session that we have students explaining to us what they want, how they want to learn. They mentioned technology, flexible spaces, learning to solve problems, all these kind of things. And after seeing these great schools, I think we are in the right direction. So keep up the good work. Thank you very much to all the schools, and thank you also to the audience for being here today.
And I think we can be all reassured about our future, because our future is in the hand of these incredible persons that are learning to be responsible adults and, incredible men and women. Yeah. So thank you to the schools. Thank you for being with us.
It is always difficult to remember all the people you've met during a conference. So why not use during the networking lunch, take the chance to take a picture at our anniversary booth. You have time until 2:15. So go now, have lunch, and good bon appetit, smakelijk.